What if the real crisis today is not stress, but unheard or unheard emotions? Teenagers feeling misunderstood, parents struggling to connect, and teachers burning out silently. Welcome back. Today's guest began her career in scientific research and forensic work, decoding evidences and other things to find truth. And today, she decodes something more clearer and with integrity, that is, human emotions. She is none other than Dr. Gurminder Raval. She calls herself a youth emotional architect. This conversation might change how you see behavior, burnout, and emotional intelligence forever. Let's begin. Good morning.
Hi. Thank you. It's a pleasure being on your show, Geeta, and it will be another opportunity for me to talk about kids, our Gen Z, and also about us, parents. So it's a pleasure, and I'm thankful to you for giving me this opportunity to be here, to be able to share my insights on how I feel and how I'm trying to help this generation fight their mental challenges.
So let's begin. You began
Yeah.
your career in scientific research and forensic work. That was an entirely different world in itself, right? Before
Yeah.
moving into coaching and emotional development, how did this journey shape the way you understand human behavior today?
This is a question which goes straight to my mind and heart. Why and where I took different turns in my career. Yeah, I was a honeybee researcher. I was researching on a honeybee scientist being itself in the field with lakhs of honeybees was a challenge. But there I was more interested in studying their behavior, these tiny creatures, how they are building their colonies, how they are doing their designated works. You might be aware of the fact that each colony has 4 to 5 types of workers in it. So I saw the social setup of these tiny creatures, how there is division of labor and how beautifully they are carrying out each and every part of member of that um, community, or what we see as hives. They are performing their duties diligently. And I was very curious, and also being having a scientific temperament means that we are just observing without any presuppositions. I don't have any mental blocks or any ideas about how they are going to behave. I'm just observing and I'm trying to reach to the logical conclusion. As a scientist, we wait for the conclusion to emerge. Similarly, when I was in forensic lab, being a forensic scientist puts lot of pressure on your mind and on your shoulders because you are writing about somebody's destiny. A little of your prejudiced mind can alter the results. So once again, you are just observing, you are trying to go to the root or the depth of the situation or the behavior, why this happened. So as a student also, I was always curious. So I was into animal behavior, then I worked with honeybees, then forensic scientist. Then as life would have it, I became a mom, and that was my primary duty. So I became an educator. Being an educator, I was not supposed to work 24/7 because a forensic scientist has to be available 24/7. So that gave me this opportunity. And while teaching senior students and watching closely their behavior, because I was always into behavioral studies, so I was observing their behaviors. So there was something which was deep down inside their minds, in their hearts, which they were not able to share with anybody. There were so many reasons I found out. Sometimes it was the sheer fear of failure, being shamed, being even named, labeled, or sometimes judged by parents, teachers, or peers. These are, to name a few, the reasons why these kids are always silent, or they are behaving differently. They want to say something, but they behave differently because they are fearful of all these things in their heads. So that became a curiosity for me, and I started going beyond my subject. I overstretched my boundaries and I started mentoring and guiding them. And during this whole process, I realized that I enjoy when I see them happy, getting rid of their pains. And that was the time when I realized I should switch my careers from being an educator to something more enabled, more skilled, so that I can help them with full conviction and so that I see their smiling faces. So, this is how I shifted my careers from being a curious scientist working with small creatures which are very dreaded, but I am very fond of them, now working with our children. So this has been a topsy turvy kind of, I always use the word roller coaster ride for me, from honeybees to human beings. And the core remains, the thread remains studying their behavior and trying to understand them.
Beautiful. So you started from the honeybee behavior to human behavior.
Yeah,
And the core you said
exactly.
is the behavior patterns. Very good. So,
Yeah.
me also coming from the educational background can perfectly understand and relate to what you're saying today. So, Dr. Gurvinder, you describe yourself as the youth's emotional architect. What
Yeah.
does emotional architecture mean in real everyday life beyond what is theory?
Yeah. So again, deep question, Geeta. When I talk about architecture, the first thing which comes to our mind is who is an architect? Who builds a building? Then they look into the details of how the foundation is going to be laid, what are the strength pillars or whatever is required in the building, materials and everything they take into account, and then they propose the project. That is the duty of the architect. When I say that youth emotional architect, see, we are living in an age when we are inundated by information, we are just absorbing it, we don't know how to express it. And so much so, our kids have forgotten how to express their emotions. They are totally glued to their works. Due to their works, they are glued to the screen, or due to certain other reasons. I don't want to now count the reasons, but they are full day busy and they don't get any opportunity to express. And while meeting my clients and while being an educator, and to add to it, I am a mother of two Gen Z kids. I have seen they fail to express. They will be expressing in a hyper reactive manner, hyper volatile manner, but there are certain deep down certain emotions which are disturbing their mind, and they are not able to share that emotion or that pain. That is where I see emotional architect. When I sit with my clients or these youngsters, I try to make them express their emotions. Name what is going on inside their mind, inside their heart. What is the pain which is bothering them? And this pain results in the form of becoming a reactive child, or a rebellion son, or a hyperactive student being labeled XYZ by the teachers, by the parents, by society at large. The reason always is that deep down pain. So I help them understand, first acknowledge that they also have emotions which they have forgotten to understand and express, then accept their emotions, and finally express those emotions and start living with those emotions. So that is the reason, what you said, why I say that emotional architect, I help them build their emotional self and take pride in their emotions and accept themselves as human, living, and emotional entities.
Beautiful way. Today's kids are all in a moment like instant gratification for everything.
Yeah.
In this race for instant gratification, they have even forgotten how to analyze or how to sit with their emotions. And your work in this field is making a great difference.
No, I just wanted to add one thing. I'll try to give an example. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a client of mine
Yeah.
who has just resigned from his job and he joined the job only 6 months back.
Mm-hmm.
And since these kids, we are just like they are bombarded with information. We are also expecting a lot from them. And of course, they are hyper skilled children or generation. They are much, much ahead of us, but they don't know how to slow down, how to take a pause, and how to stay grounded in crucial times, accepting their emotion. What you said right now, I was trying to add to it. So this client of mine was struggling to adjust to the environment, to his superiors. Of course, there were certain issues between superiors and this generation because they are also getting labeled all the time because of their hyper nature. So this boy was unable to contain his emotion, and this emotional overwhelm finally led it to this kind of a situation that he put his papers. A brilliant child, a very talented child who is giving up on his job. He was not afraid of working. He was working 20 hours a day. He was not afraid of working. He was afraid of treatment being meted out to him. That he, in his word, my boss doesn't understand what I want. And he was inside having a huge emotional turmoil. And he had to pay the price for his own turmoil because he was unable to express that.
Yes, absolutely. As you said, today's Gen Z and the young workforce, we need to train them how to contain their emotions, label what they are feeling, put a name to it, and then go and work on it. They do not know how to work on it. The organizations also need to tend to care for the Gen Zs in a manner that was so past, like it was for the generations behind them. They were able to
Mm-hmm.
cope up with their emotions. They were, because they were coming from joint families and families which were raised, kids were raised in a group, so, or they had siblings at least. Now kids don't have siblings also to share their grief, trauma and pain, because the Gen Z or the present generation is too far ahead of the generation behind them, more often
Yeah.
because our generation or the generation before us came from joint families, or we had at least siblings to share our feelings
Mm.
or emotions,
Right.
and we knew how to share, how to care. But the generation today doesn't know that, because most of them do not even have a sibling to go by or share with.
Right.
And parents being hyperactive and almost always engaged and non available, the chances of them to get their emotions recognized is much less. So they are mostly teenagers, have emotional struggles, often stemming out from adults misunderstanding them or overlooking them. So, how do you address that?
Yeah. This is something which is observed in each and every case which comes to me. So, this inability of our youth to express their emotions because of the reasons, again, you said that they don't have siblings, the families are nuclear. Also, parents are working, parents are impatient too. They don't have time, they have their own stresses. Resultantly, they don't give that much of space. And also, there is a communication gap between both the generations. While most of the parents who connect with me or who reach out to me for help, they always say that our kids are spoiled, or they give different types of names we are all aware of. And when I sit with their children, you will be surprised to know, Geeta, all the children, if not all, more than 95% of children whom I met, they love their parents too much. They don't want to bother or add pains to their already existing parents' pains. So they keep struggling within themselves. And what happens? They go silent. They don't express their pains. and in return they are getting labeled. Same happens for parents. When parents see their kid in pain, they will not be in that mind frame or mindset that I have to listen to my child or hold the space to let him or her express. They immediately come up with suggestions or advice wherein the child feels that, oh, always labeled. They are always finding faults with me or they are always on to advising mode. They are not ready to listen to me. So, this is the biggest communication gap or challenge between these two generations. Both are chasing their target, chasing their dreams, no time to pause, no time to sit together. Parents also don't share their emotions. So I always encourage the parents to be present with their children, spend quality time. And I encourage them to share with them their vulnerabilities. So for parents, I always have one suggestion for myself also, which I don't preach, I live with it. If I am passing through some challenge, I'll share with my kids so that they understand that there are pains also in life. There are challenges also in workplace. I cannot be showing them only this polished picture of mine, okay, I am an achiever. No, I have my own ups and downs so that they have this conditioning in their mind that this is part of life.
Absolutely.
Similarly, kids also have their challenges. We need to be patient to listen to them first. If they ask for suggestion, then only, otherwise just let them unfold and share. And once the this overflowing glass releases all the steam, then they settle down, then they themselves will seek your assistance. So I try to be like a bridge between both the generations so that they are able to understand each other positively. दोनों एक दूसरे को बहुत प्यार करते हैं, लेकिन दोनों के पास वो वर्ड्स और टाइम नहीं है शेयर करने का कि how much affection and love is there on both the sides, because both the sides don't have any other apart from them to live for each other.
True.
So I hope I am able to address your question properly.
Absolutely. As you said, we come from a generation where we do not have so much of family support as the generation before us had. Most of us
Yeah,
come from nuclear families today. The parents do not have
exactly.
a shoulder to cry on. They are on their own, and the kids are also on their own. Both are
Hmm.
struggling at some stage
Yeah.
in their life, and both cannot match each other's strengths, or both cannot say to each other what they are going through. But this not saying to each other, not communicating properly with each other, is again bringing up a gap which is so hard to fulfill. And this is causing
Huh.
so many major changes psychologically and emotionally in both the kids and the parents today. And you
Yeah.
are wrapping that up in the best possible way that you can with your work.
No, why I'm saying Geeta? Because see, I'll give here the example of my own kids. They believe that Papa is a super Papa. He doesn't have a challenge in his career. No, I have to, when they were very young, so I had to sit with them and tell them that he also has daily basis challenges. So they realized, okay, he also has challenges, but we don't see because he doesn't share. So I encourage him also that you tell your kids that you also pass through so many challenges so that they are aware this is a part of life. Similarly, in personal space, all the parents, they must showcase their other side, not the successful side, the real side, the human side, that this is how we had to pass as a student. I share with my kid, as a student, we had this kind of a challenge, so that they are aware that this is not something which is happening to them only, and they start breaking inside. So that is my way of grounding them, and this is how I encourage my clients to stay connected and grounded themselves and along with their kids.
So you work closely with both parents and children. And where do you see this communication breaking up most frequently? And why does it happen even in very loving families where both the kids and the parents do and are ready for go to any extent for each other?
Yeah, I think this is something which we might have observed in our families also regularly. And to some extent, all of us resonate with it. When I talk about you or me as a parent, all of us are living our lives for our children only. It's an unwritten fact which resonates with all of us. And same is the state of the children. But parents are not at all aware of it, one, because both the sides are not sharing. They don't get the time to share. So they have their own predispositions in their mind. They have their own assumptions about their parents and the children. Keeping aside all these things, you ask when does this communication breaks down? So as I was discussing in an earlier question also, this breakdowns when I was discussing with you an example of my son. So one day he comes from college and he says, "Oh, it was horrible. It because temperature that day was around 48 degrees. I can understand he was in tremendous anxiety because of that heat." So he came home. I said, "Okay, fine." And it didn't go well with him. मैंने बोला गर्मी होती है तो he was not ready to take it. But I said कोई बात नहीं, you have to tolerate. Now I'm into a fixing mode. मैं उसको समझाने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ instead of then he snaps back. How do you know? You're sitting in AC. You don't know probably. I realized my fault. Then I said, I understand, but you have to pass through these days. When I was working with bees, temperature was 50 degrees, same summer season. And I used to sit in the field under sunlight. Have you ever been there? And his next question was full of empathy. How are you living? 50 degrees में फील्ड में बैठ के जिंदा कैसे हो? Now I was able to avoid that situation that I was first into a fixing mode. Communication fails here. When we try to give suggestion or advice, we tend to, as parents, tend to protect or defend our children from that pain or the thing which is the trigger or stressor. And the child is feeling judged. As if I don't know, as if I'm incapable. This kind of thought crosses their mind. And when they are saying and we are into advising mode, this kind of a thought process. And similarly, when parents speak, they are speaking from their wisdom. Every time they are not into advising mode. We This is something which I must say a failure of our education system also. We are unable to tell our children where to draw their boundaries. When the parent is speaking from their experience, this experience being shared is because they want to tell the children this is how it happens, but the child feels, oh, they are trying to just advise us.
Right.
So in both the cases, this is a failure. And communication breakdowns because the parent feels kind of disrespected, or they will label my child is a complete rebel, or he is a complete, what would you say, disobedient child, mannerless, what kind of terms they can use at that point in time because they feel judged. Parent also feels judged. यार मैं इतनी अच्छी बात बता रहा हूँ and they are not ready to listen. Same for the child. So this is the point where complete breakdown of communication happens. And the simple reason behind it, that trust. That main thing, the core thing, that both the parties love each other beyond description, but they are not sharing those emotions with each other. And the day the parents start sharing, naming their emotions, how they are feeling, the day the child starts naming the emotions I am feeling, it will be a game changer. Here I can quote the example of a ninth grade client of mine. So the parents, when they came to me, both of them were weeping. that our daughter is in a bad state. She needs immediate attention. So when I sat with her for the first time, she was in the habit of using some words so regularly as if breathing oxygen. So, one specific word, mad, being used for friend, being used for mother, being used for father and teacher. 40 times in 60 minutes. I was ticking, ticking, ticking. So that day wrapped up. Next session, she comes again. She says, I brought her notice to this word that this is not acceptable. Because I was the third person, she took attention of it. Next time, she repeated it 24 times. And then in sixth session, she repeated it only twice because in her own words, ma'am, I have improved. I am working on myself. I'm so proud of my present self. That day I complimented her. Beta, you have just removed that biggest roadblock in your communication. It's just itna sa abhi hai baki. How do you know? I said, you always ask, ma'am, आप क्या टिक करते रहते हो? And first time the ticks were 40, now it's 2. And she celebrated like, she said, yeah, I'm a winner. So this is something which is required that we need to, kids are ready to listen. They are ready to work on themselves. But if told without judgment, I told her that this is something which is not acceptable in any normal communication. I didn't pinpoint it to her. In third session, I brought it to her notice and she realized her mistake. So this is how we must work ourselves also. Then I'm sharing because she said, "मेरे मम्मी पापा भी दोनों ये word they use it like we eat food." I said, "Okay, I need to bring it to their notice also if you want to." She said, "No, I myself will do." And this is how these small, unknowingly being done, I wouldn't say mistakes. These are regular habitual things which are part of our conditioning. For example, you are not from North. In North, people are in the habit of our generation and our previous generation. पागल है क्या? तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब है क्या? Now, if I say the same words to this generation kids, they will take it literally. Am I really mad? Then I have to work on my language. No. Now, with the passage of time, this kind of word should go off my vocab. So, these are the communication roadblocks where I work with both parents and kids, and I hope they are enjoying their better lives now.
So, coming to this question, the thing that you shared today, something I would like to add or want to know more is that in our generation or the generation before us, certain colloquial language or certain things or phrases that we use consistently over a period of time, like it was like any thing to do, we would use those words. They
Yeah.
are not acceptable today. The Gen Z cannot accept it the way we accepted it. Like, for example, I'll tell you, one of my uh, extended family, the mother always used to tell her son, "Get out of the house," on this every
Mm-hmm.
second thing. And she had seven sons, and nobody got out of the house. They would just laugh and just they will get along with her again. But if you are to say the same word or the same phrase to a Gen Z today, literally they will pack their bag and leave.
Yeah.
We will have to not just the Gen Z, we have to also develop and we also need to change as parents. This concept
Yeah.
has to seep in to every parent, every teacher. Because what worked 10 years before is not working anymore. So we also need to change because the generation has changed, the language has changed, the way they express has changed, and most important, their attention span has changed tremendously. Do you agree with me?
Exactly. Attention span right now is 20 seconds.
Absolutely.
So this morning I had a call from a parent and he says, my daughter is 14-year-old. I believe she has ADHD. I said, what is there to tell that he has ADHD? My wife feels that she's always on the move. I said, that means we all have ADHD because the attention span is 20 seconds. If you are also scrolling the whole day or doing this thing, we all are suffering. Please don't label your children. This is something new coming to my knowledge that parents, they immediately drop off the hat, they are giving such a big word and name, and the child start taking it literally. Oh, I'm ADHD. Oh, I have some attention disorder. Why to feed it to them when it is not proven? Like, I'll give you an example of the word depression. Now, every child is very proud of the fact that I am depressed and I'm on medication. So much so, when I was a teacher, my one day a parent came to me. She says, "Ma'am, take care of my daughter." I was a class teacher. I said, "What happened to her?" She says, "My daughter is in depression." And I was totally shocked. Depression, such a big word. And she's all a happy go lucky child. Last 4 days I've been observing she is silent. And I knew the reason because she didn't score marks in spot test. One of the spot test was given by me also. बट वो घर जाके तो उदास है क्योंकि मार्क्स नहीं आए शी इज नॉट एबल टू शेयर द ट्रूथ विद द पेरेंट्स सो पेरेंट्स आर जजिंग आई सेड इज शी सैड और शी डिप्रेस्ड no no she is depressed I said who told you have you been to doctor yeah doctor has given the medicine I was totally shocked then I told her ma'am depression takes months to settle it's not one day thing and if you say that she is depressed please get it clinically proven if you had gone to the doctor and doctor just believed in you and might have given some medicine that she feels better, don't tell that she is depressed. And she went back understanding what I said. So when I tell my clients scientifically proven things, then they immediately accept it. Oh, right. But how many people in the society at large are aware of these things? So these are also adding to the pains of the children. Gen Z, if you talk to them, 50% of the Gen Z will say, I'm anxious, I'm anxiety patient, I'm depression patient. Why? We
It's like
understand their
some
life is
medal
very
they are
fast.
carrying.
This is kind of trophy
Yeah, they are carrying it as
because
a medal.
they, and because they will get certain empathy. All they are looking forward is patient hearing, empathetic treatment. And
Absolutely.
interestingly, it's not there with parents also because they are also in a hurry or they also want quick solutions.
So I
So,
also
दो दिन बच्चा है, take the child to doctor and get the medicine. Instead of sitting with the child, what plagues their mind? What is the pain which is bothering them?
I believe it is because we are also into a quick fix kind of mode. So
Yeah.
instant solution, depression. So instant solution, medicine. So the kids are also getting into that route along with the parents. Probably it's
Now
not the
coming,
root cause from the child itself, it's the root cause of the parent.
yeah, because that is what they have been observing. They are conditioned like that, that everything has a solution, immediate solution. Click
Hmm.
of the button, you will have a solution. Coming back to your thing that we had so many proverbs, so many words, because we read in our books also. And we lived that in our classroom sessions too. And we were in the habit of using even I would use the word literacy and educated here. We live those proverbs and idioms, so we are educated about the real meaning of that.
Right.
This time we are just making our kids literate. They just read it, they reproduce it in the exam, and that's it. No literal meaning being passed on to them. That much effort not done by either the teacher or the parent.
The presence is not made, only the mark
Yeah, nobody
made.
is present to this generation. Nobody is available to this generation. We just are labeling them.
Yes. And that lack of presence is really bringing in problems, not just in homes, in schools, in society, in the country overall. So, with your strong grounding in science and NLP and coaching, how do you balance structured techniques with empathy and intention in your sessions with these kids and parents?
Yeah, so as we are already discussing, these kids, they respond brilliantly to empathy. And life coaching, guiding this generation, 100% rests of empathy and compassion. So, as I shared with you, being a teacher also, they were sharing with me their innermost pain, so much so they were harrowing things to even listen, happening in their home with the girls, with the boys, and it was pain to even listen that your parents are aware, still it is going on with you. But they had that trust. So, empathy and compassion first, they generate that trust. Most of the people are not aware of the fact that whatever we speak is only having 7 to 10% of weightage. 90% is what my body, my eyes, my gestures speak. So if I am all receptive to the child, their pains, no judgment, no this kind of a facial expression about labeling or judging them. I'm all ears, ready to help. They read from my body language that empathy and compassion passed on to them. Then they are ready to work on themselves. Then comes my science. I explain the things scientifically to them. So a structure is created in their minds. Okay, this is what happens if I get anxious. How many chemicals, how many hormones, and how many organs, vital organs are under impact in 1 second. So they are receptive now to work. And these NLP techniques, they help me make them walk through that process of understanding them, of understanding their emotions, what will happen if they are out of these kinds of challenges, for example, lack of confidence, public speaking. Once they pass through those techniques and they have that aha moment, they are ready to now open up, they are ready to work on themselves. So what I do is kind of, we make recipes now. My recipe is first bring them or ground them, sit with me with lot of empathy and compassion, then share scientific basis of what is happening in their body if they are not opening up, if they don't accept their emotions, if they don't respect how the parts of the body are going to get affected. And once they are awakened for this, they are ready to walk with me on that path that transforms their mental space as well as they start enjoying their newer version.
Absolutely wonderful. So, creating safe, non judgmental space is the center of all your work, not just your work, everybody who wants to literally and intentfully work for the betterness of humans. So, when you say this, what actually helps people feel centered to what we are speaking?
Feel centered to what we are speaking is when they read from what I am saying, my heart, body, mind, and words. They are in sync. I am absolutely present to them. No judgment, no label, no advice, no suggestion. Just listening. In my own client's words, ma'am, I feel so safe with you. So she shared those kinds of things. If I share with you, I cannot speak on screen. But had we been meeting in person, if I shared with you, it will give you goosebumps. A child of grade 5, she shared some events when she was in grade 5 happening to her. She said, I have shared with nobody. But will you judge me if I share something with you which is very bad? I said, what bad? So she said, this is something. When she narrated the whole event, then I said, I can understand what kind of mental stress or pain you might have undergone till now. because you are keeping it inside your head, heart. You won't believe she gave me a hug. Ma'am, you didn't find fault with me. You are understanding me. I love you. And this was kind of, that was the breaking of the ice. Uske baad to whatever I will just try to dig out with her. She's ready to work on herself. So all they need is presence,
Absolutely.
that confidence that I'll be held. Whatever, even if I have had some bad experience, I have committed blunders, but I will not be penalized or, I mean, shamed or judged the way I have been by society or my own people at large. So they need that kind of assurance, that kind of safety and security, that even if I committed a blunder, but I am not a bad person. That is what I install in everybody's mind. Habits can be wrong. Some behaviors can be painful, but person as a whole is never bad, never wrong. And this statement works really well with all my clients, touch wood.
I believe in
This
it,
is
what you said, because I work with professional women and women in there who are young adults. And what you said resonates with me because when I work on them, on their emotional intelligence part, I think most of the cases that come to me, most of the issues in their life stems out from their childhood trauma, pain,
hmm,
and grief that they have never shared with anyone, had been carrying it all alone. And now that small thing, a small blunder or a small mistake, has become such a big, huge baggage for them that they're not able to go ahead in their life or careers. So I think, do you also believe that the home of anyone should be a space wherein both parents and the kids, if they even commit a blunder or a mistake, is a space which is not judgmental, non derogatory, where you can speak your mind, be open about whatever you have done? Do you agree with me?
exactly. And that is what I try to live in my own life also. I am also a person, I might have committed blunders. I will be doing it because nobody is perfect. But that is what I also try to live with, because this is a place, home is a place when you where you should feel maximum secure. It should
Absolutely.
be the safest place. It should not be a place where you are fearful of your being, your persona. Even if you had a drink, okay, don't penalize or label your child. You can first let the things settle. Then you can sit in a finer moment. You can sit with the child and share how do you feel without labeling the child. And these kids are so smart. They respect, they carry your values. If we are imposing on them, like I always do one activity with my all the clients of all age group. I tell them to deep breathe with this tightened noose around their neck, and they say, how to breathe, ma'am? You will kill us. No, 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 I'm not going to kill you. So you try to tell your brain, do the things, or we try to extract out from our kids the reality or the harsh truth by imposing, by annoying, by labeling, or by judging them. How will that child open up? They will just start going away from us. Not that they are, I use the word the boys and girls coming to me use, ma'am, I'm totally frustrated. They give up that my parent is not ready to listen. They are just going to say one, two, or 10 things to me. I don't want to talk to them. I will not share with them. So that is something. And also, all the parents are not like that. This is coming from peer group learnings.
Absolutely.
If one child has wrong experience, he will share with the peers. And all these kids then start judging their or observing their parent through that lens. What
Lens.
if my parent also behaves like that? So if there is no communication barrier or challenge between the parents and the children, probably one day, one fine morning, that child will come and tell, उसके पापा ने या मम्मा ने ऐसा बोला, and that is the time when you need to plug that gap. No, that was not right. It should have been like this. This one statement is going to last the whole life for both the stakeholders.
Right. So
Yeah.
one more thing, the burnout and overwhelm is everywhere now. And every second teenager is speaking about burnout and overwhelm along with the parents today. Because parents are using it too often, the kids are also using it. From your perspective, what is most misunderstood about burnout, especially among high performers?
Yeah. So here I can 100% resonate because my own kid is passing through it. He can use the word burnout, but he is not burnt out. I am fully convinced because I have taught very brilliant students. All of them have this similar challenge in their life. Why? Because these kids are not afraid of working. They are ready to work because they are round the clock glued to the screen. They are all of them are not playing, all of not them are not burning their time. They are learning. So they are ready to invest their time. But they want certain respect, certain validation, certain accountability for their actions. So when we say this generation is burnt out, how many of us have actually tried to understand, are they burnt out, or they are emotionally overwhelmed, or they are emotionally into such a state that they are not able to focus? All they want is, once again, that patient hearing. Try to understand and listen whether this burnout is coming from those pained emotions. How many of us have tried to go to the root of the problem, whether it's work pressure which is bothering them or emotional pressures? Sometimes they are totally misaligned with the work they are doing. Here I resonate because my son, I see he's totally misaligned with the kind of work he's doing. He happens to be such a brilliant child, and very small tasks daily doing for hours together makes him emotionally overwhelmed. What I'm doing? He starts judging his own abilities. Am I worth this only?
Hmm.
And all the high performers, be it a boss, leader, manager, anywhere, anybody, if they are emotionally misaligned with the work they are doing, it will lead to burnout, bore out, or all kinds of these terms then start applying. And the root cause will not be that physical work, which we judge, we
Yes.
label that these kids are not able in, so they are not capable कि वो काम भी कर पाए. They don't want to work. They don't
Absolutely
want to work when they are not aligned with the kind of work they are given or aligned with the kind of treatment meted out to them.
true.
They want certain respect and recognition. If I have done, as I told about the client of mine who resigned last month, he said, I'm working for 4 people. I asked him, will you be? Ma'am, I can do. I am not that non-competent person. 3 days back he said, I'm doing for 5 people, still I'm resigning. I said, why? Because he says, कोई value तो है नहीं, there is no respect. 4 people have resigned, fifth me, I am doing everybody's work. But still, every now and then, I am made to listen to this kind of a statement or that kind. I don't want to stay here. Again, high performing child. This is company's loss.
Yes,
उसका
absolutely.
loss तो है ही. At the beginning of his career, he is leaving the job. But he's a bright chap. He will get something. But managers also need to understand. So is the case of parents. We also need to understand whether my child is burnt out because of work or misaligned with the kind of work and the treatment they are getting.
Very true.
Yeah.
So your signature framework focuses on uncovering hidden beliefs, Why are these beliefs so powerful and why do they remain invisible for so long?
Geeta, a while ago we were talking about some idioms, some proverbs. That was part of our conditioning. That still is. So I'll again use my own example. I still use those proverbs. I'm a Punjabi, so I use some Punjabi words also, which I inherited from my grandparents and my mom. So when I use with my kids, I tell them, ये मेरी conditioning है, but don't take it literally. This has become a part of my lingo. But the thing is, when we talk about these kinds of things, these kids are observing ever since they came on this planet. They arrived in our lives that this is how we behave, this is how we react, this is how everybody is going to respond to it. So, this conditioning has etched certain beliefs for the whole time into their naive brains. And these beliefs then lead to some presuppositions. Suppose everywhere, or we tell them, okay, you should be back by this time home. If by any chance the child is getting late, there are a number of reasons. Already the fear factor and the scare will set inside the brain. And to cover that scare might be a situation they will be lying to us. Had it been not a part of their conditioning or at regular intervals, we might have tried to change those things. Things would have been different. So they are carrying all these beliefs. These are the hidden beliefs. When you said about your clients that it came from childhood, the same happens with me. So a client of mine, she came to me, she said she was passing through a regular episodes of fits at night.
Mhm.
Fits out of fear. What kind of fear? She had a very young son of 5, 6 months. What if I die at night? मेरा husband तो रात को होता ही नहीं घर पे. He always goes for night duties. What will happen to my son if I die? I said, what kind of fear it is? And when I looked at her medical history, she had consulted almost all the good neurologists in Delhi NCR or Punjab. To name a few, I was aware they are the big names in the medical field. But still, she was passing through it. And during the process of our sessions, I realized she had seen one event in grade 9. This kind of event happening to somebody in her village. And it was not shared with anybody. So this hidden belief was there that whenever at night something will happen to you, your child is automatically going to die because nobody will take care of the child. And she was passing through such a traumatic phase for 1.5 years. And after our sessions, she's not at all on any medication. This was the hidden pain deep inside her mind. When she became a mother, it unfolded. So when the similar situation arises in our life, that belief will suddenly emerge.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
the brain will enter into a fight or flight mode. Kind of situation we are in, kind of people we are going to talk to. Either we'll run away, or flight mode may be either be offensive or defensive. And in the whole process, we'll try to lie or cover up or whatever is the tool available to us. And that
Right.
is what is happening to these kids.
In my experience also, what I have seen is most of the adults, what they fearful of stems from something they have subconsciously absorbed from their surrounding or upbringing or from their families during the childhood. Even for me, it has happened that something which we are not fond of or we do not want, but it got subconsciously inscribed somewhere in our brain. And during our adult life, when that condition happens, a perfect condition for it to enhance or it to just spring up happens, it suddenly springs up and keeps the adult off the board. you're
Yeah,
thrown off the boat and you do not know actually how to respond and you react. The moment you set your first reaction, you are trapped. And then
yeah,
you
yeah,
really have to work it out to get out of it. Am I right?
yeah, yeah. And it is true for, I think, 95% of people.
Absolutely. Some childhood
Because
will trigger you,
uh,
some adult point of time.
and this is conditioning, societal conditioning, family conditioning, or whatever we have been observing since our childhood. Some of it we are aware consciously, most of it is there in subconscious. We are not at all aware of it, and that hits at the right moment, and we are not even ourselves aware what is happening with me, how I'm reacting this way, because I am not at all aware of this newer version of mine, and one feels stupefied.
Very true. So
Yeah.
these, when you say that, for someone listening to the us right now and who falls into overwhelm, depression, or who feels unheard of or misunderstood all the time, and have strongly have feelings like he's or she is stuck in a position, what is one thing that you want them to understand before trying to fix themselves?
So when so many things which you have mentioned, even if somebody resonates with two or three of it, maybe depression, maybe anxiety, maybe stress, instead of finding resolutions around, instead of finding solution outside you, try to look within. What is that what thing which is giving me the pain? Try to identify your stressor. In any situation and every situation, one thing is true for everybody. Nobody is going to change for me. No situation, no stressor, nobody on this earth. And if I am bearing the brunt of it due to certain person or certain situation or office, whatever is the trigger, if I am into pain, I need to look within and I will find solution inside me. What kind of emotion is coming up? What extent of pain I am passing through due to this emotion? And then I should try to get out of this pain at the earliest. If I am able to name it, label it, and tame it, fair enough. Because these days kids are very aware of all these things. But if I'm not able to make out and not able to tame it, then immediately I need to work on myself and seek support. And there is no shame in seeking support. We go to the doctors whenever we are having a little of fever. Fever is just a symptom. Mental problems and emotional problems are the biggest disease, but we are always labeling it under certain taboos. I would appreciate if this generation throws away this taboo and starts working on themselves. That will be a situation when they will be able to manage themselves and live happy lives, better lives.
I truly agree with you, and I love the way you said it. So, as she said, name your emotion, frame it, and then tame it. In case you are not able to tame your emotions by yourself, please go out, find a person who can help you do it. In India, there is a taboo on finding coaches and mentors because we think that it is not needed, and people of that caliber do not exist in India. But contrary to it, India is a land of teachers, and there are many coaches and mentors available at your comfort, at the comfort of your home, who can do for you online work, even offline works for you. And they are not just engaged in their work, they are actually helping and overcoming the burdens of the society, of the houses and the homes, and the individuals who are burdened with the baggages they are carrying with them all throughout their life. If you
Right.
find a right mentor or coach in life, most of your problems can be taken off in a minute. So if you believe that you can do it, because I think if you believe it, you can achieve it. So if you believe
Exactly.
if you can achieve it, go find a mentor or coach who will help you sail through smoothly with all the baggages that you are carrying at present, which you need not carry all your life. These are not surface level talks onto the podcast at GGsTalk. They are conversations that help you understand yourself better. And in this episode, we resonated. Like, if you resonated, so like, subscribe, and share it with those who really need it today. Because emotional intelligence is not about coping, it is about clarity, connection, and conscious living. See you in the next episode on Conversation on GG's Talk. So, thank you, Dr. Gurminder Rawat, for being here and showing the light to many. Thank you.
It's a pleasure being on your show and having this fruitful discussion. I would say fruitful because we could throw light on some of the very relevant things which we are also living with in our own lives as parents and parts of the society. So I completely agree with you. We go to doctors, we go to hospitals for very small, trivial issues because we feel that needs attention. But when it comes to your mental health, mental space, any deviation from normal in your mental health is going to cost you very dearly, but it's going to take its own course, affecting different parts of the body, taking a little longer time before it becomes visible. So, as Geeta has mentioned, whenever, wherever you feel that you need that support, please wake up. I understand this generation is very much aware of mental health. And for that, I'm truly appreciable for their awakening and their proactive approach. And I appreciate if the whole society will wake up to their kind of thought process. There will not be such challenges which are visible all around at this moment in the society.
Very true. So, on this note, we are ending this episode today with the hope that more people will reach out for help rather than carrying it all by themselves. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.